Got a campsite here for the fall. It's supposed to snow this weekend. It'll probably snow here, but right now it's 65 degrees and sunny. And got our own wood pile ready to go. We have a little campfire going, lots of chairs, and have our own private creek. On our last trip, we used the heater quite a bit because it was 30 degrees and raining and sleeting. But our hose was too short to get up as high as we wanted, so I bought a new hose. That's this. Now it can go up the tent about halfway. Before it would only go to about the door, and so I just got a longer hose, and now we'll try that out tonight. It's supposed to be 30 degrees tonight, so I'm sure we'll be using the heater, and we'll see if that works better.
Was amazing. We just had little lightweight down puffer blankets over us, and you could have the screen open to get the fresh air in and hear the creek, and I was warm all night.
I think it got down right below 30.
Yeah, it was cold out.
It was cold outside, but the heater really actually worked great. It's just a 2 kilowatt diesel heater, but what were the windows open? Maybe a quarter on each side?
Mine was open several times during the night all the way.
See, even that little 2 kilowatt one, the tents are so small, it doesn't take much to make them.
It was very warm, and it was nice to not have the sleeping bag tangling around you and all that. You're just laying on the mattress with one blanket, and it was amazing.
Probably used 1/8 of my diesel fuel. I didn't even have it filled up all the way because I've used the heater a couple times before, and it just barely sips it. My Jackery hardly used any power on it. I think it said it could run another 380 some hours with the amount of energy being taken by the diesel heater. So far, it's been a great addition for wintertime, fall camping.
Even summertime.
Even summertime for some people. Yeah.
Well, when we were at Dark Horse, it was like 26 degrees or something. So.
Yeah, we did. You never know in Montana. You can get some really cold stuff.
It was nice to have the hose higher up in the screen than right down on the bottom, because then he wasn't blowing like right on you.
Yeah, I adjusted the hose. The little piece of hose I had was too short, so now we have a hose almost all the way to the top of the screen with it. We put it about halfway up, and it worked perfect. Anyhow, we're on Little Moose Creek. We've been camped here. We're just finding our way out. It's supposed to snow today all across Montana. It's supposed to be lots of snow. And so saying goodbye to our daughter and our grandkids. They're going to be taking off for their big adventure. They live on the road. They're going to Baja here, getting out of this temperature, getting down to where it's warm. They've been here all summer. We've been able to hang out with them. They're on their way to their next adventure. In the meantime, this was kind of like their last Montana camping trip. And
probably my last, but John's going to go.
I've got to do some hunting yet this year, so I'll be out probably camped in the snow.
I don't do that.
Yeah. I've invited her. She's just not really interested in walking around in knee-deep snow in Montana in the wintertime. But it's an open invitation anytime. Meanwhile, it's nice and hot in the Jeep here, and it's pretty outside. They did see a mountain lion and a moose along this road. So
we're always looking for Sasquatch.
And Catherine's looking for Sasquatch. Yes. Although if I saw one, I'd let her know. We're really not sure. There's like a dozen roads that lead out of these mountains, and since we have lots of fuel, we're just going out one of them. Now we're on Rocking Chair Creek, so swapping from drainage to drainage and going over the top of mountains. Should be a fun day. In Montana, you don't necessarily have to get on a four-wheel drive road to get into some pretty remote places. There are some roads that just don't get any traffic. They were fixed up maybe a dozen years ago, and there's a little washboard on them, maybe a pothole here and there, but they're good roads. Tow a trailer on them. People use them for hunting, but they kind of look like this. And like I said, you can go 25 miles per hour on them, and you're a long ways away from people. So we probably saw maybe a dozen campsites. It's Friday, now today's Saturday, when we came in last night, and we were the only people camping in a dozen sites. So,
and yesterday it was beautiful.
And there was a campground too down there about 3 miles from where we were camped off the main road, and nobody was in the campground. And it's archery season, so you just don't know. You'd think that more people would be out camping, but they're not. There's lots of roads out to dispersed areas and such here, and there's just nobody out here but us, so may as well enjoy it. Now we're on even a wider gravel road. This is Logging Creek Road. I think about 2 years ago we did some camping off of this road. It's a long road. It cuts all the way through the belts on this end, and so there's lots of destinations you can head to off of this, but as you can see, it's a pretty wide trail from this point on, if you even want to call it a trail. And I think that's mostly because there are some logging operations still going on up here. So Logging Creek Road is what would be an appropriate name for this road. This to get back to the highway. I think we can enjoy that. What do you think?
Yep.
Yeah. As we travel these roads into a very historic area of Montana, and help to notice how unpopulated it is now compared to what it was earlier in history. We're heading to the ghost towns of Barker and Hughesville. As you're going along this road, there's just no people back here now. Anyway, the history of this area starts in 1879 when on Galena Creek a large silver deposit was found. That created kind of a rush. That when that rush happened, it brought about 1,500 people to the town of Barker, Hughesville, Galena City. There were a few of them. They all kind of merged into one in the way they were working, all located in about the same 1.5 space to 2 miles. 1880s, everything was looking great for this rush. $350,000 worth of silver came out in just 18 months. And that's dollars in their time, which would be a lot more in our time. But the silver became harder and harder to find by 1883. So in just 4 short years, these towns started coming apart a little bit from being able to supply what was needed for as many people that were there. But they were very undeterred. In 1890, there was another mine, the May mine, the Edna mine, the Liberty mine, the Wallace mines. They all started up and they started finding good amounts of ore in these mines. By 1891, the Montana Central Railroad provided a pathway to get the ore to the smelters quickly. Up to this point, it was an 83-mile wagon ride from where the ore was mined to where it could get to the smelter. And so that all of a sudden made this a lot more productive. The Clendenin Mining and Smelter Company was doing about 4 tons of rock daily. A man named T.C. Power expanded operations with a gravity mill that proceeded to move 100 tons daily in about 1920. So now you can see years down the road from the initial discovery, now we have a lot more product coming out of this area. 0.5 million ounces of silver came out of these mines. In 1927, when the silver was really drying up and harder to find, lead they were mining here. And in 1929, 400 tons made it to Montana, and it became Montana's largest lead producer. Baker itself as a town had 15 saloons and mostly tents. They had churches, and of course they had a brothel and all the things that you would expect in a Wild West town. The mine itself had several accidents. Incidentally, Colonel Clendenin, who was the one who started the big mill he actually died in an accident in one of the mines. So when you get into this area today, it's interesting, but a lot of the town is actually private property. So it's all posted. You can't really go from house to house and look at all the buildings. And years ago, there was actually some other buildings in Hughesville that were actually destroyed maybe about 5 years ago because mining claims. They came in and this stuff was in their way, so they flattened it and leveled it and destroyed it, and it's gone. So as you go through this area, take lots of pictures, take some video like we did today, and just remember that generation loses more and more of this history, and more of these buildings give way to the elements, and more of what happened here is gone. You would never guess that it was that big of a thing. It just looks like a few cabins along a mountain road. this was not one of those planned routes. We planned to go to the ghost towns and then find a way out of here back over to Great Falls. That's what our plan was for the day. This came up on the map as a route that was possibly going to get us there. Now, keep in mind, no one had been on this road yet, but it does go through National Forest and BLM, and then at the bottom it goes through some private land that it's all open to driving because it's access to the forest. But it's kind of a beautiful little place, and ended up being a fun road. We weren't sure if the full-size Ford was going to make it, but it did just fine. We did get the chainsaw out a couple times, and we did have a few scratches.
There are times when life makes no sense, when the storm roars louder than the graves. I go running, running to his presence, to the shelter of his secret place. And his great love drives my fears away.
Good news is I think it does go to Great Falls. It's just tight.